Spirit has blessed me with a little friend who has decided to materialize on my bed. And while I think you are adorable, there's probably a more appropriate place for you because I have OCD and I don't want a lizard on my bed. That said, I do like you and you can chill in my house. It is good fortune to find geckos in your home. Geckos are cool lizards. Look how quick moving they are. They're fast, they're decisive, they fucking go for it. Check out the metaphysical meaning of gecko spirituality and stuff. Actually, hang on. Okay, so gecko symbolism. Geckos remind us that we have power within ourselves to change and evolve if we can let go of what is not serving our highest good. I did a reading after this, and let me tell you, that fucking resonates so well with the reading. You'll see in a bit. So, Gecko spiritual symbolism also teaches us to have balance as they move both forward and backwards on their feet while climbing up walls or trees, much like how one must maintain a delicate balance in life. I feel like that also works with the concept of like time being an illusion. You can move forward and backwards in time. I'm moving the blanket so I don't accidentally crush a gecko. Anyway, I figured since I got graced by this gecko, it might be a good opportunity for me to come out of hermit mode and be like, what's up? Do some readings, do some ASMR. So we got a long video here, and yeah, have fun vibing with me this morning. We're going to do some smudge ceremony, and we're going to do some readings and some ASMR and all kinds of fun stuff. So here we go. Okay. We're gonna do a morning reading. I've obviously just woken up. I know it's almost 11. I was up until about 4 or 5 this morning working on projects that I'm really, really, really excited about. Holy shit. But they're not quite ready yet. They're close. But maybe I'll put up a little preview in this video using the magic of technology and stuff. All right, let's do a reading. Gotta work with what you got, you know, right? Now, I have one fucking conundrum when it comes to filming it. I gotta get my shit situated here. But essentially, I'm kind of like, I'm trying to think of my viewers here. What am I saying? Let me just split station. By split mute, back go to alright. Okay. Cool. Alright. Jesus Christ. Okay. What a fun morning this has been already. Alright, let's start out with a little bit of sage. First of all, just to start the day A-okay. We'll throw some ASMR up in here, because why not, like, relax when you're getting, wait, that didn't even hurt. When you're getting your shit together. Cauldron. So, check this out. I actually found this cool fucking cauldron at the transfer station. The transfer station is, so there's like a little thrift store there at the transfer station where you drop off your recycling and like your garbage. And so I was there and I found this thing and it was like, look at this. Like, are you fucking kidding me? Are you fucking kidding? Anyway, I was really excited about that. Like, it just like lit up my little inner witch, and I found it right, you know, at the beginning of spooky season. Like, what a blessing. I feel like that's like, oh no, how ironic. Okay, for the sake of, so I was like, what a blessing. I feel like that's, and like I kind of waved my arm, and there's this little aloe plant. I'm sorry, plant. And I just happened to graze it with my finger and it pulled this off. But, you know, this morning I was thinking, ironically, about wanting to do something like a little like spa treatment for myself, so maybe I'll use this for the purpose. Maybe I'll put some intention into that later too. Healing, soothing balm for the collective. We could all use some balminess. I never claim to have completely appropriate humor, okay? It's part of my brand. If you're offended, just fucking go somewhere else. Jesus fuck. Okay, anyway, so we get a little bit ADD in the morning, so that's why we do rituals, so we can kind of get our shit together a little bit. Let's work on our fucking chakras. All right, here we are. That's ironically placed. Okay. So we got some sage here. Thank you for the sage. I recognize that, you know, there is a lot of controversy about using sage right now. This is ethically sourced and harvested white sage, sustainably harvested along the southwestern coast of the U.S. and is prized for its strong aromatic properties. Anyway, I also like to use Palo Santo, and I have some rose incense too. Maybe we'll throw some of that in. I think I'm gonna do a longer video this morning. So, let's work on our crown first. We want to kind of clear this, really like clear our connection with the infinite. I feel like the crown chakra speaks a lot to, you know, like trust and shit, along with the base chakra, interestingly enough. And they both connect. You think about the chakra systems, you know, like it's all an infinite, like fractal iterations, octaves. The crown chakra from one person will be like the base chakra of another. So you can say that collectively we all have our heads up our asses, more or less. It's fun, and I feel like let's move on to the third eye, seeing clearly, communicating. You know, we think of the throat chakra as communicating, but we gotta remember there's an overlap. We kind of want to have a balance from one to the next, and then a whole. So, the third eye chakra, I think, is about interpreting all the stuff that's kind of coming from the inside to the crown chakra. We're kind of choosing, you know, like what we want to tune into, first of all, because there's infinite dimensions. And as above, so below. But then I think when we get to the third eye, then, you know, we've dialed into that dimension. Now there's many ways it's expressed. There's many ways, you know, to look at the information. We have our six senses, you know, synchronicity, all that. And so I think this has to do with kind of like interpretation. And then we move into the throat chakra. And that's speaking on what we are observing, witnessing, sharing our perspective on it. And then when we move into the heart, you know, the heart is like our gateway between the material and the ethereal. So like the concept of speaking from the heart is this balance point between all the stuff from above and all the stuff from below. We have a lawnmower in the background, I think. I don't know if you can hear that or not. It is what it is. We're going to spend a little bit of time on the heart. Interesting. Like, working on this area, and it took a big exhale, you know, like being a bit of a smoker, you know how to release. All right. Oh yeah, I forgot to say it. I'll say it now, and we'll just link it interdimensionally. But you know, I'm putting Reiki into this, and this, you know, like sage cleansing and stuff. So like, if you want to receive this energy, I would imagine on some level, you know, I always put the intention that it goes where it's accepted, you know, like on a soul level, you know, kind of talking to your higher self. Like, if it's not gonna flow, it's not gonna flow, you know what I mean? I don't put any attachments to what that looks like and how that looks for people, but if it's something on some level they feel like they could use, then it's there for them. So getting into the heart. I think the heart, you know, is interesting. So we have neurons in our heart, and so we talk about like the third eye kind of processing the stuff. I think the heart is like another area that has that kind of thing, and is processing stuff that's coming from below too. It's kind of like, so then we move into the solar plexus. It's like the will and such. Solar plexus, that's kind of where the nerve center, like right here. It's the yellow chakra. It's assertion. It's kind of like making those decisive actions within a 3D. You think of it like looking at it in terms of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs and stuff. It would probably be where your area where you're starting to communicate with others and exchange and stuff, and influence the world around you more so. Then you move into the sacral chakra. That's where you're having more influence on yourself, self-directing. Sacral speaks more to like passion and stuff like that. Sexual energy, reproduction. But it can also be like that creative force. When you think about like sexual energy, taking like the physical aspect of it out, like think of another expression of it is a creative force, creative energy. So there's, you know, like, you know, like cell division and stuff like that, and then creating art, like just different expressions of that. And that's kind of also, at this point it's still like mostly self-directed stuff, you know, depending on where you're at in that particular octave, you know. It could look more like connecting in with like the solar plexus, you know. I think you get what I'm saying. But then we get down to the root chakra, and that's survival, existence. That's like your basic needs for living, and so you think about it like in just simple terms, you know, like as an organism, like our first priority is our survival, making sure we have the basic things that we need to exist, such as like food, shelter, all of that. And then, you know, you move into like the sacral, and that's the things that, well, you might not physically like die if you don't have those energies, you will have problems. So these things flow and move into each other. And that gets back into the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, you kind of have to be able to take care of these things in kind of a sequence a little bit. Maybe not. I think there's probably some variability in that, but it's really hard to think about, like, you know, building your empire if you're still trying to, like, figure out how to eat, right? So going back to that conversation about the root chakra and the crown chakra, there is having the sense of, like, where you come from. If you can connect back to the crown, then going back to this, knowing that, you know, this body ultimately is part of something much bigger, and it's a small part of it, and an important part of it, because it sort of represents where we sit in consciousness, our center in infinity. It's our temple, but at the same time, a temple is just a house, you know, and we're ultimately infinite beings. It's just the little part of infinity we choose to tune into or resonate with or express. But it's kind of like balancing out all of that together. Do one more here, just kind of with a little bit more ASMR. Also, I should explain too, like, when I'm doing this, so like I'm saging myself because I want my energy good, but also act as a proxy while I'm saging myself and, like, working on my energy, you know. But I'll do some of, like, the cooler camera stuff right now too, also, like, because that'd be pretty groovy. Alright, so let's just run through. So we got I'm in that crown chakra action, and then we'll bring that down into the third eye, and then we bring that down into the throat chakra, and then we bring that down into the heart chakra, and then we bring that down into the solar plexus, and then we bring that down into the sacral, and then we bring that down into the root chakra, and at the root chakra and at the crown chakra is where all of those points coincide and meet. So the end is the beginning, and the beginning is the end, and like wholeness and stuff. Cool. Anyway, so yay. Alright, so I love you guys. Alright, and now while we're doing our other stuff, I'm gonna light an incense. Actually, just because of threes, I'm gonna, like, just throw a little bit of Palo Santo up in here as well. Just because, you know, 3. It kind of works with the whole 369 concept if you think about it. As well as just, you know, a little bit of the Palo Santo, because it's little. So that, you know, 3, and then I think the sage will be like the 6, and then we'll have the rose be the 9, because the rose will be burning continuously. I feel like it works. Get some Palo Santo. Hello there. So now we're just going to bring in some of that nice loveliness. Put some aloe on your aura. Waste not, want not. I feel like we should use some of this right now too, because it happened while we were filming. So I'm gonna put a little aloe on you, okay? Actually, we're just gonna. Thank you, aloe plant, by the way, for your contribution. I'm not much of a believer in coincidences. I tend to think of things more in terms of synchronicity. So I feel like, perhaps in some way that aloe plant's like, hey, yo, I want to contribute to the ceremony. Thank you. Okay. And we got this rose incense here. I want to show you something about rose too real quick. So this is a little scrapbook grimoire thing I have. I call it Metamorphic Mysteries. And I have a big project I'm working on with the same name. This has been long in the making. Anyway, so one of the first things I wrote in here was a thing that is healing through art, and I had this thing with roses. Many years ago, I got more into my spirituality, and I remember learning about rose and how high of a frequency it has. And I was like, whoa, that's cute. So the rose is cherished as a divine flower. The scent of roses is supposed to be a sign that angels are near, also a symbol for the divine feminine Mother Mary, and vibrates at a very high frequency of 320 megahertz, the highest of any flower on earth. Lavender is second at 118 megahertz, and the human brain vibrates at 7 to 90 megahertz. That's pretty cool. So anyway, this was like the little entry I made here. You want to look at that? I'll put up a little screenshot too if you want to be able to like pause the video and look at my little scribbles and scrapbooking. I have to reglue this. I'm gonna take this book and kind of put it back together in a more organized fashion at some point, because it is starting to fall apart, but I feel like that's also part of the process. Sometimes things have to fall apart to put them back together in a way that's more better. So anyway, so let's light this incense. We got some fire. Oh, you know what? Almost forgot. Silly me. Let me just do this first here. I'm gonna take you, we're gonna put you right here, and then we're gonna take you over. Put you right in that thing. We're just hanging out, doing some energy work, making the vibes nice. Yes, sir. Okay. We're gonna put you right here. And we're gonna also, real quick, do two other things. We're going to turn on. I want to grab this lovely glass of water. I would suggest, if you haven't yet, take some time to hydrate. You want to drink water when you are getting Reiki. Let's charge this water with some awesome magical intention at this time. Alright. Chokurei, chokurei, chokurei. Chokurei is a Reiki symbol. It looks like this right here. It is a symbol used to send energy in with intention. Think of the spiral shape of it. It's the same, like, that kind of thing. So let's put some healing intention into this. Let's make some holy water. What's up? All right, we're gonna make some holy water, guys. All right, here we got this rose. Hey, you know, whatever works. Alright, I'm putting this intention in that this water connects us, you know, with our higher purpose, with love for ourselves and love for each other and love for the infinite. Because we are all it. So as I drink this, it is my intention that these energies are going out to anyone who needs it, who wishes to receive it on a subconscious level, on a conscious level, whatever is appropriate. Like, so we'll say thank you and drink some refreshing, good vibe stuff. And also, I'm gonna give some of the plants too, but sharing is caring. These guys only like a little bit of water. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. Okay. And I'm gonna go give some water to that plant over there with our little gecko friend. Making sure we don't. All right. Cool. Over here, get offer this too. Sharing is caring. Ancestors can get in on all of these vibes, you know. All right. That's my belly. What's up? Okay. So let's do a reading, shall we? All right. We've got a few decks here to choose from. We are at 26 minutes. I think I'm gonna go first with the Native Spirit Oracle deck. You might remember if you see my other video, but I actually ended up coming by 3 of these decks here in a really synchronous way. I had to leave my Oracle decks on Maui and flew over here and just happened to kind of by happenstance go to this garage sale down the street from me because I missed the bus, and they had all 3 of these decks marked at like $2 a piece in there. Just super magical too. Like, that gave me a lot more confidence that, hey, maybe I should be doing stuff like this, you know? So that was cool. So we got a flowing river. And my mind is also drawn to this image on the back of the deck too, with the rainbow, and it looks like an eagle or a hawk. So we'll put that right here, flowing river. We'll put that right there. We've got Vision Quest. Ancient Forest. And Peace Pipe at the bottom of the deck tracker. I'm not as familiar with this deck here, so I am going to read from the book a little bit, but, you know, in an intuitive sense, you know, before I go into the card meanings from the book. I see Flowing River, Vision Quest, Ancient Forest, Peace Pipe, Tracker. What's interesting about this setup is, you know, the tracker card, there's a river, and then there's a river on this side. In between them, we've got this vision quest, the forest, the peace pipe. There's an interesting dynamic of contrast with the three cards here. If we look at the imagery here between these two dry desert-like areas, we see this ancient forest. And what's interesting too is both of these areas speak to a place that once had like a lot of water. So I feel that there's this connection, you know, with forests, with trees, and the need to, you know, like kind of bring that back into things. On a physical sense, like on a very literal sense, there's a need for it because trees and forests are such an important part of ecosystems and how the planet as we know it functions. But then on a metaphysical level, you think of what a tree represents. And even interesting with this forest thing being between these two things, the trees connect us to both extremes in polarity, with the leaves touching heaven and the roots touching hell. There's a balance between those two things. Now, when you look at all of these cards collectively, you got river, desert, forest, desert, river. You know, it's really interesting the way these all lay out together, just looking at that alone. Now, if we're looking at the card meanings, flowing river. Where are you, flowing river? Where are you? Sorry, so flowing river is on page 48. Page 48, flowing river. Everything is falling into place because you aren't resisting the drift of the great river of life. It's time to let go. You're entering a period of gracious ease and flow. All is unfolding perfectly and with good timing. When you're in a state of flow, you aren't pushing the river to go faster and you aren't swimming against it. Let go of the shore and enjoy the ride. There's a little bit more here. All right. Your native spirit wants you to know. Rivers have personalities and carry energy just as animals and plants do. From the Maoris to the ancient Australian Aborigines and to other native cultures throughout the world, it is believed that it is important to listen to the language of the river. If you aren't feeling the smooth currents of your life, it might mean that you're trying to control situations and that you're being self-critical and judgmental. The way to move into flow is through gratitude and appreciation, by allowing others to support and help you. Heed the Native Americans saying it's best to ride the horse the direction that it's going. This means that when the card flowing river chooses you, you're being told to let go and go with the flow. If there's something or someone you need to forgive, this is the time. This is also the time to forgive yourself and just let go. The journey. As you shower and as water flows over your body, imagine that everything is flowing in your life. Spend time next to a river or stream and watch the flowing waters. Use it as a metaphor to let go and enter the flow. All right. Next, we've got Vision Quest. Vision Quest. QRSTUV 116. Excusez-moi. Let us drink more waters. Vision Quest. Card meaning, sacred secret. Take time away from people and situations. Step back, withdraw. Inner truth is emerging in stillness, but first you need to retreat. Know that you're guided. Look for answers in different ways. The answers are around you. Watch for signs of the coming day. Trust that your life is being directed. Well, trust that one other thing. I'm going to take this incense and let it by the window in the sunlight. Just so we got a little more airflow happening and dispersal because it's near the fan and it's right in my face and I don't want to be coughing at you guys. I was like, so, alright. Sometimes we need to adjust. You know, there's a permaculture principle, it's like observe and interact, and then like, you know, like basically like apply feedback, accept feedback and apply self-regulation. So like, for example, if you're sitting here and you're lighting incense, you might want to move it so that it's not blowing your face. Okay, anyway. Sacred teacher, seeker. Take time away from people and situations. Step back. Withdraw. Inner truth is emerging in stillness. But first you need to retreat. Know that you're guided. Look for your answers in different ways. The answers are around you. Watch for signs in the coming day. Trust that your life is being directed. Your native spirit wants you to know in earth-based cultures, larger questions about life are often answered on vision quests or solo retreats in nature. Questions such as who am I? What am I meant to do with my life? And what is my mission and purpose in life were often answered on quests of various kinds. Even if you don't have burning questions, when this card chooses you, it's telling you to take time away from your ordinary life. Take time to explore the depths of your soul. Your soul knows the truth. Take time in quietude to discover what it is. The answers to your questions are all around you, but you must be still to hear the messages. The journey, spend time alone, preferably in nature, without your cell phone and the internet, and even without a pencil or paper or book. Simply be. Listen to the world around you. Be still. Watch for signs. Open your heart to receive messages from the divine. Okay, sorry. Come here. I'm having fun, okay. Okay. Hopefully that wasn't like super distracting, but it's basically saying, you know, take time to be still, go inward, and through that, you kind of see your path expressed in the outer a little bit better. Okay, next, ancient forest. Ancient forest. Ancient forest, page 36. All right. One second. I'll edit that out or something. Card meaning, your roots go deep. Incredible, radiant, healing strength is available to you and grows within you. Do not doubt your abilities. You're so much more than you can possibly imagine. There's immense, unseen, but very real support around you. You are loved and cherished. You are grounded, stable, and strong as your spirit reaches high into the heavens. What your native spirit wants you to know. Throughout the world, those in indigenous cultures revere what are called tree people. The powerful life force of trees can bring healing, strengthening, and grounding energies. The kind of tree might vary from culture to culture, but the reverence and gratitude for its beneficial energies are the same. The ancient forest is alive with nature spirits. Additionally, each tree has an individual spirit, especially powerful and resilient. The forest can survive the harshest conditions because of the mutual support of the spirit of the entire forest. Your greatest strength is silent and deep. It doesn't need a show of force. It just is. Inner powers found through contemplation, reflection, and meditation. That part there, I feel like goes very well with that vision quest part here. It's sort of like, you could take your vision quest, go into the forest somewhere like natural and stuff, you know. Inner power is found through contemplation, reflection, and meditation. Sometimes it comes from times of growth and change. Other times it springs from surviving and conquering painful situations. The journey. Adopt a tree. It can be one in your yard or in a nearby park or wilderness area. Talk to the tree, touch its bark, give thanks. And by doing so, you create an energy connection that will continue to nurture you no matter how far away from you are from your adopted tree. That seems like some dryad stuff to me. Anyway, all right. I like it though. Next we have peace pipe. 70. All right, peace pipe. Heal old wounds with people and situations. Carefully do whatever you need to do to make amends. Forgive yourself and forgive others. We're coming back to the sense of forgiveness. It's time. You no longer need to carry the burden. You are a mender. Help others mend bridges in their lives. You can bring peace to the world. Your native spirit wants you to know. In native traditions, sharing a peace pipe filled with sacred tobacco and herbs was a way of finding common ground and dropping discord. It was a respite in order to calmly assess a situation and find peaceful resolve. They would do this with kava as well. There are times to drop everything and leave. There are also times to carefully mend bridges with people, situations, and places. You know, a lot of indigenous, belief systems seem to have that kind of ceremony, like bringing people together and mending, there's something about, working ceremony into things. That right there be magic. Okay, this is one of those healing times. Maybe there is a wound inside of you that needs to be forgiven or accepted. Maybe you need to forgive yourself or forgive another and transform the inner grievance. Do it now. You don't need to forgive the act, but there's power in forgiving the person. You no longer need to carry it with you. Perhaps there's a person from your past with whom you should reconnect. You know what you need to do. This is the time to do it. The journey. Write down the answer to these questions. If there was an area of my life to which I need to bring peace, what might it be? What's the first step that I need to take toward resolving a rift with another or a feeling unfinished regarding a person or situation? Then take action. That part about mending a rift sticks out at me when I look at the cards laid out. Because a lot of them have that, like the Grand Canyon, where there's these big swashes of the earth is just I don't know, it's just something that kind of jumped out at me. This card here is at the bottom of the deck too. That's tracker. Let's look at that one and then we'll flow into something else here. Tracker 110. Focus your intent and your passion on one thing rather than being scattered in different directions. Be single-minded in what's truly important in your life and let everything else go. Track the unseen but very real stream of energy to that which you desire. Your native spirit wants you to know trackers have the ability to be so focused that everything but their goal disappears. What you see around you is the result of what you focus on. When you direct your thoughts toward good, you attract positive experiences and people in your life. But when you focus on what isn't working, you create even more challenging situations. If you aren't pleased with the direction of your life, concentrate on what you desire, not what you don't want. To develop inner power, focus intently on one thing. Being scattered in a myriad of directions deludes your strength. Devote your attention to your family, community, career, relationships, hobbies, or anything that you are passionate about. Diminish activities that aren't essential to your goals, and it will be just a matter of time before miracles begin to occur. I was thinking about that yesterday, actually, the sense of time and, how we perceive time varies very much from person to person and moment to moment. And I think sometimes if we're not paying attention, we can let time slip by, wasted on stuff that really isn't really doing much for us in the long run, It's ironic, I'm sitting here filming this right in front of a big screen TV. I've lived here for over a month and I still haven't turned it on. Part of me is kind of almost afraid to, because to me it represents, wasting my time. I've been the kind of person where even if I am watching TV, I usually have to be doing something else. And I think in many ways that is definitely a gift, because it allows me to focus my energy better. And I have found too, if I'm distracted from one thing to another, it's scattered, dispersed, it's diluted, diluted. So it's just something that occurred to me to share. So And I found too, you know, other things like in regard to like working with time and being able like to get stuff done is like figuring out ways you can do things where you can get a few things done at once, you know, like finding good ways to be multifunctional that don't dilute you. It's just finding a balance between those things. But like for me personally, there's a lot of stuff I don't really spend time on nowadays, like because my attention is divided between a few different things that I like. For example, I play guitar, I like to produce and make music, I like to do this like readings and stuff, I do tattoos, I do art. I write, I have all these things I work on, and so I spend my time on that, but you don't really see me these days playing video games, binge watching Netflix, you know, that kind of thing. And I'm tend to be a more purpose oriented now. Not to say that that stuff isn't good or whatever, it's different for each person, but I've kind of learned for myself things that work for me to get things done that I want to do. And also I'm ADD, I have a really hard time just sitting still in front of a box for hours. Like I can't, I just fucking can't. I gotta be all like, anyway, so like, but I can sit there on an art project, so go figure. It's weird. Anyway, let me drink more water. We'll put nice pretty sounds in here to like cover the coughing if it's abrupt on the ears, because this is like ASMR style as well, I guess, you know. I apologize. I'm trying to work on healing my lungs right now because I have been abusing them a little bit with tobacco, if I'm being honest. Like, if I'm being real, we all have our things we are working on, but could be worse. I have made improvements in my life, which I am happy about. Right. So what do we want to do next? We're about 45 minutes. Stretch a little bit, I think. Sorry, I was like distracted. I might go and do some stretching and stuff in a bit here. I feel like this was a pretty good reading. I guess just for funsies, I will pull some other ones. I'm gonna pull from my personal deck because I might as well. I made it, right? I just spent like 20 years working on the art from your deck, and then another couple of years putting it all together to make a fancy like and stuff. So it might make sense to try and like share that shit. Why didn't you share that shit? We got Cernunos. This would also be the equivalent of the Ace of Pentacles. New material opportunity. There's a lot of fives too, change and stuff. I write little notes on the back of these cards, but the backs of these cards will look a little different than this. We got 10 of Pentacles. Happy home, old age, generosity, inheritance, generational wealth, all that good stuff. I might change that card for the meaning of it, but I like that. I kind of decided to go with that meaning for this card just because something of the concept of like being next to a river and having this plants and animals and nature, that feels like real wealth. And with it coming up too, like with Cernunos too, there's like, so this is an opportunity, you know, that could bring in abundance. But think about what abundance is too. You know, it doesn't necessarily have to be like gilded shit, you know. It doesn't always have to look fancy like this. And if you look at the skull, one thing I like about it is that this like stuff, there's a zipper. Like you take all of this off and you're left with the skull, and it's still like beautiful and stuff. So, but it does look cool, don't it? I didn't know that. It's neat. And somebody imagined that in their brain space, and then it found its way to Ross's. It's funny too, because there's a shop I used to work at, the logo looks similar to that. And it's like, oh, that's neat. Alright. an ode to the tattooing part of my life as well, you know, in a sense. Less strange. All right. And we got the sun, joy. New life, new day, new beginnings, seed sprouting, growth. This came out like sideways. This is the devil, bondage, victim, slavery. It's basically like the sun is like, I think this is the energy coming out of a lot of this too, being in bondage to yourself, you know, like to your own like self-imposed limitations and things like that. I'm kind of speaking for myself too here, like pull two. There's painful endings here, and there's 5 swords here. This is probably the energy here. So there's 10 of swords and there's 5 of swords. These are the cards for this. This is the 5 of swords. And with this is a card that on the surface it's really pretty in a sense, but it's also really kind of sinister looking. It's like there's this, you know, beautiful city. It gives me Atlantis vibes and stuff. There's a sense of multidimensionality here, but there's like this eye that's at the bottom. It looks a little bit ominous and sinister. So that's why I chose this for the 5 of air or 5 of swords, because there's like this sense of like, you know, stuff. It's not like 7 of swords. It's like a battle that, you know, is still going on, that, you know, in the 5 of swords, you see a dude is like picking up swords after a bunch of people have already left their swords behind. It's kind of like this. That card is a good analogy for like beating a dead horse too. And then, you know, 10 of swords, that's painful endings, walking away. Now, at first glance, this card, you might be like, why would you choose this for 10 of swords? But let me explain a little bit more. So this painting is actually a lot of deep personal meaning associated with it, and stuff has come through in here that I didn't even realize at the time when I painted it. And when I looked at it later, I'm like, holy shit, you know, quite literally. In fact, this is a really heavy card. My grandma asked me to paint this after my Aunt Kathy passed away. She kind of commissioned a painting. This is an oil painting. And she wanted like this like place with like a, you know, like a fountain or a well, like the kind of vibe she wanted. And I didn't really intend for it to get so dark, but I think that was me processing my aunt's passing. And you look at the flowers and you look at the shape of this structure. It starts looking kind of like a toilet, and the flowers look, they're red, there's blood. It's like she passed away suddenly. It felt like her life got flushed away, for lack of a better, like, not to, I mean, it sounds brutal and blunt, but that's how it felt when she passed. She was really young. She was only like, she was in her early 40s. She had a hard life, and it felt like when she passed, there was a lot of stuff that needed closure that never happened. And I think a lot of that ended up being expressed in here. She was gone, but it's painful, and sat in with her. So that's why I chose this for the 10 of swords. Like I said, there's it's a pretty heavy deck, but reading these all together, so 10 of swords, 5 of swords. Interestingly, this was also painted, I finished this painting when I was living in Wisconsin, ironically, at my grandma's house. And I started this painting, and it's actually a series of 3 paintings I put together. But I started it shortly before I moved to Hawaii. I started these 3 paintings, and then they just stayed in storage for the longest time. And then in 2020, I started working on them again, and then had a car accident, ended up having to move back to the mainland. I brought them with me and I finished them while I was staying at my grandma's house, and this is what they ended up turning into. I ended up putting the 3 of them together into this painting, and there was a lot of things that had happened, you know, in my personal life that I reflected in here, kind of along the lines of, you know, what I had shared. So this is 5 of Swords. And so getting back to the energies of these inherent things, it's interesting I said inherent things. This card here, this is the Devil card, like I mentioned. This is actually one of my older art pieces in this deck. I did the first version of this actually when I think I might have just graduated high school, I want to say, or I think it was around that time. And then I ended up, like a year later, doing a digital version, which was this one. I had done a color pencil version, and then like I got Photoshop, and then I was fucking around with Photoshop, and so like I did a digital painting of this. And so it's kind of like dark humor. Some of my shit has dark, weird humor, but it's lawn gnomes and a pink flamingo, and they're gonna have a cookout basically, and like the flamingo's not stoked about that. It's hard to see in this picture, but it also has like ropes around it. And so going with all this, you have this sense of bondage, and it's an ending of this energy here, but it's painful. And you know, like sometimes that's how it is. Sometimes endings are difficult, but out of the ending, some beautiful things come through, you know, and some of that is having boundaries. It's protecting yourself, protecting your energy, honoring yourself. Athena, inner wisdom. You know what to do. Trust your inner wisdom and take appropriate action without delay. How interesting Athena pops out here, when Athena is, you know, a goddess of wisdom and a goddess of war. You know, like if you want to thinking of a Queen of Swords energy, well, I think Athena would be a great archetype for that, right? And that's probably some energy you had to call on in your life, you know. And if you haven't, maybe you need to. I think a lot of us are in transitional phases in our lives right now, myself as well. We've got Coventina, purification. It's time for a cleansing, detoxification of your body and mind. And we have Sedna, infinite supply. You are supplied for today and all of your tomorrows. And I think with those 2 together, or those 3, you know, it's sort of like, okay, what does that look like? How do you apply it? And Athena has a bow and arrow, you know, like, as does Artemis. They're able to be decisive with their target and make the mark. We also have Ishtar at the bottom of the deck. And so that speaks to focus, what you're choosing to focus on, where you're choosing to put your energy. And so you have to be almost like militant sometimes with that shit and protecting yourself, but in a loving way. You know, an interesting thing about Athena, so she's wisdom. She's a goddess of wisdom. She's got this owl vibes. She's also a goddess of war. She's a goddess of strategy. So it's like applying strategy to your life and to your thoughts and all that stuff. I'll pull one more since I pulled 4 there. It doesn't really matter, but I feel like called to do that for these. Never mind, too. Okay. We have Solace, bodies of water. Spend time near water, such as a lake, river, ocean, to recharge your batteries. Going back to the river thing. And then we have Ishel. I apologize. I know it's Ishel. Medicine woman. You are a channel for divine healing power. This coming up next to water. Think of, you know, I think there is such a... There's such a link between water and soul. Coming up next, we're gonna pull, I'm just going all out today. I'm just gonna go all out with these cards. We're gonna pull next from the Ascended Masters Oracle deck, or as I like to sometimes say, the Ascended Master Bait, As as in donkey, ended as in polarity, bait as in bait, as in ER, emergency. I think of the term Ascended Master and the, you know, like a stupid pun, play on words, limerick thing sort of came to me with that. Let it go. All right, never mind. But it's just this concept of, you know, like checking yourself, you know, like even Ascended Masters, how do you know they don't fuck up sometimes? Like, or they might come and bait you, you know what I mean? Like, that's what it, okay. All right. Let it go. Ascended Master Baiter. Sometimes people will come into your life who are going to try to bait you. They're going to try to fuck you with you. They might be Ascended Masters, you know, like testing and be like, where you at, bro? You know? There's always some kind of force that's working through things that's beyond our comprehension. And sometimes, like, we just gotta let shit go. Just know when not to take the bait, so to speak. I'm just gonna use that card there. I guess next I'm gonna pull a few tarot as well. Let me shuffle this. This is a Wild Unknown tarot. I mean, I guess that was a tarot deck too, but let's do 2 tarot just for fun. Why not? Of course, it's saying let it go. Maybe that means like your reading is done. Can we have one more? One more, just to like, you know, like finish it off. We'll just pull 1 tarot card. Keep it simple. Any additional messages? Things we should focus on? I feel like this. All right. Interesting. Okay, so we got the Hermit in reverse. We have 2 of Swords in reverse, and we have Strength in reverse. So, and then underneath that, we've got the 10 of Pentacles in reverse. So the warning here is just being mindful of your energy. You know, with Strength and the Hermit in between the 2 of Swords, all these being inverted, this really looks like the opposite of this to me. It's sort of like, that's kind of what you want to avoid. You want to just be mindful, taking a look, you know, when things come up and asking yourself, you know, do I have space for this? Is this gonna like throw me is this gonna strengthen me or deplete me? You know, is this something I want to be around? You know, and then using the air swords appropriately. So, okay. Let's close this out. All right. I am wishing all of us a beautiful week, and I am intending all of us, we're gonna make it that way, right? There's a guy I follow on TikTok, and he says something like, it's gonna be a great day, you know why? Because we're all making it that way. And I'm like, yeah, all right. So, thank you so much for watching, hanging out with me for this last hour. We got our little ritual in, and some divination, and some ASMR, and this was fun, and we'll do it again soon. I'll have a video like this up every week, and then I will check in with random oracle card and tarot readings on the social medias and such, but every week I'll do a long format video like this, and if I feel extra spicy, maybe I'll do extra ones for fun. Okay, I love you guys. Thank you for sharing this time with me. Go in peace.